This is something that's interesting compared to being on a cruise. The drinks are included, but only until 11:30 in the evening. So if you want to have a drink after 11:30, you have to pay for it. It is Sunday, March 3rd, 2024, and on this week's edition of Sunday Sofa Time, we're talking about my next travel adventure. It's a beautiful sunny day here in my home base of Hamburg, Germany. I'm glad you're back here. I hope it's sunny where you are too. And speaking of sun, my next adventure is going to be taking me into the sun. And I'm gonna tell you something really weird right now. Let me know if you can relate or if you do this too. Before you have a trip planned to someplace warm, especially if you live someplace that has winter, do you ever kind of wish that it gets really cold before you leave so that the contrast is even more dramatic? This might be really strange, but I almost wish that it would get like kind of crappy and rainy here again so that it's just so much more fun to be where the sun is. Does that make sense? I'm Morgan from the very unofficial travel guides. I've been making travel videos for over 15 years of popular and not so popular tourist destinations to give you a very honest, unofficial look at what it's like to be there. And I'm also the author of a fun little book called Getting Stitches on a Cruise Ship with true stories of actual crazy things that have happened to me while traveling around the world, like getting busted with a knife in my bag at the airport. Picking up a copy is a great way to support what I do here on YouTube, so check it out. It's available on Amazon now. Okay, I always say I go to popular and not so popular tourist destinations, and I think the plethora of cruise ships that I have been on now and the Disney and Universal theme parks that I have been to now, those count as the popular destinations. And although the destination that I have coming up next week is for many people a popular destination, I think worldwide, it's probably gonna land on the list of less known places that I've covered here on the very unofficial travel guides. I'm talking about the island of Fuerteventura, which is off the coast of Africa, way down here by Morocco. This is not gonna be my first time going to the Canary Islands, it's not gonna be my first time going to Fuerteventura, and it's also not gonna be the first time that I'm going to the resort that I'm going to, but it will be the first time that I'm taking you with me. So one of the topics I want to explore more on this channel this year is the contrast or the pluses and minuses of going to all-inclusive resorts compared to going on a cruise, because a cruise in a way is basically an all-inclusive resort on the ocean. And I know a lot of you out there are not interested in all-inclusive resorts at all, but I think if you stick around and watch a video or some videos from the series, it might give you some things to think about. And this isn't gonna be a huge long video because the trip is coming up. I just wanted to take the opportunity to tell you where I'm gonna go, who I'm going with, why I'm going there, and some of the things I'm gonna talk about and show you while there. Kinda so you know what's coming up. So one of my closest friends, somebody who has been on the channel before, the cameraman in my very first YouTube video, and if you've read Getting Stitches on a Cruise Ship, my bodyguard and I are gonna be spending 8 days at a resort called the Fuerteventura Princess. And I know some people are coming up with jokes already, but the resort is just called Princess. It is not a resort only for sparkly people. Although it is funny, every time that Collie and I travel together, people automatically assume that we're a couple. Collie has a wife and 3 kids, and I have Marcus. We are not a couple. And Collie and I used to travel a lot before he started his family and before I got together with Marcus and started the very unofficial travel guides. And this is gonna be one of our first like guys trip where it's just the 2 of us in a really long time. And you know what? I think things like this are important. If you're together with a partner or if you have a family, I kind of think it's important every once in a while to be able to go off and do something with your friends or a good friend. I hope this doesn't sound controversial or like that I'm not happy here with Marcus, but sometimes it's nice to just have a break and go off and experience something with people other than the people that you see every day anyways. And the last few times that Collie and I have gotten together for overnight things, it's been to go skiing. And the thing that we realized is Collie is just such a better skier than I am, so it's kind of lame for him to have to be waiting for me all day as I stumble down the mountain And that's why he suggested, why don't we go someplace and do like a tennis camp? Our tennis level is actually pretty similar. I know he's gonna debate that, but I would say our level is pretty similar and we're close to the same age. So the reason that we chose the Princess Resort on Fuerteventura is one, because the weather there is pretty constant. It's like a constant 75 degrees there.
I can't wait for 75 degrees.
The price definitely fit in our budget, although it's kind of on the high side. And from my stays there in the past, and it's been probably 10 years since I've been there, I know that they have a really great tennis school. And a lot of people go there actually with their teams in the spring to do some spring training before the team competition starts again in the summer. And actually, because I booked this trip and I'm paying full price for everything, y'all know I fund all my own trips. I don't accept, or I don't even get really, invitations to do anything for free. But being somebody who works as a professional in the travel industry, I do sometimes have access to discounts, which I'm then not allowed to talk about. This is not one of those cases, so I can tell you, with the flight from Germany and all included or all inclusive 8 days at this resort, the whole thing is costing about 1,400 euros, which is like $1,500. So that's including flight, room, and all food and drinks. But this is something that's interesting compared to being on a cruise. The drinks are included, but only until 11:30 in the evening. So if you want to have a drink after 11:30, you have to pay for it. That's just gonna be one of the many things that I'll be talking about in my detailed comparison video after I've done this trip. But how do we feel about that? Can you imagine if they did that on a cruise ship? People would not be happy. So from the 8 days that we will be there, of course, we have the arrival day. We're not gonna get there until later in the afternoon. And then the day that we leave, we'll be leaving early in the morning. So we actually only have like 6 full days there. And from those 6 days, 4 of them will be with tennis training. Y'all, please let me know out there if you play tennis. I don't think most of you do, but I'm just interested to know how many of you actively still play tennis or in the past have actively played tennis and maybe now play pickleball, for example. So Collie and I will be doing some training together, and I might do some training on my own with the coach that they have there. And then they also will be doing 2 tournaments in the time that we're there. And depending on how we're feeling, we might actually enter the tournaments as well. But I'm looking forward to hanging out at the pool, going down to the beach, getting some sun, improving my tennis game, eating a lot of really great Spanish style food, trying some nice Spanish wines and maybe a few cocktails, and just hanging out with my good buddy that I don't get to see much anymore. We will have a rental car and are gonna try to explore a little bit of the island, but I just know from being there in the past that Fuerteventura, it's a volcanic island and it's not like Hawaii. It's basically a desert. Not a lot grows there, so as far as like nature to explore, I'm not sure how much we're gonna be able to see, but I'll be showing you in the next few weeks, so hopefully we'll find something that will be interesting to you too. And speaking of things that will be interesting, please let me know what are some questions you want answered from this experience we have at an all-inclusive resort. I know, like I said, not everybody's gonna be interested, but for the people that are interested in, let me know. This video is going online on Sunday and I leave on Thursday. So next Sunday, depending on what the internet is like, I'm gonna try to do a live stream from the resort. Make sure you check back for that. Let me know what you wanna know in the comments below. And speaking of comments, now comes the time on Sunday Sofa Time where I comment on your comments live on air. Last week's Sunday Sofa Time was another cruise related video where I went through a detailed look about what are the 3 most popular cabin categories on cruise ships, regardless of what cruise line you're on, what they look like, what you can look for, what to expect, and which is the one that I try to avoid when booking a cruise. That's what we talked about last week. These comments are on that video. The first one is from La Hermitesse. They write, I really admire the way that you provide information such as this cabin comparison with the subjectivity of your personal experiences and preferences, but also still offering objective enough overviews to be helpful to anyone with different tastes or needs. I'm beginning to feel a bit self-conscious about my invariably favorable comments on your channel, so could you please do something I can take issue with so I'll sound like less of a starstruck fangirl? First of all, thank you so much for that nice comment and for putting a smile on my face. You know, I talk about this a lot. When you do what I do, you don't have like a manager or a supervisor giving you feedback. I don't get performance reviews. I only know if I'm doing a good job or not doing a good job by analyzing the numbers and reading the comments. So it's good to get comments like that, and I'm not reading it just to sort of pat myself on the back, although I think it's okay to do that every once in a while too. So I also invite you right now, think of something in your life that you can pat yourself on the back for. Don't be embarrassed. It's really okay to be proud of something you've accomplished, even if that's only you made like a killer bowl of Cheerios for breakfast this morning. And so La Hermitess wants me to do something that will provoke a negative comment from her. I'll have to think about that one. How about my voice? How about that I recorded 2 entire videos today with a hoarse voice that I'm sure is really annoying for some people to listen to. And actually, this past week, I've been going back and looking at some older videos of mine to find footage and to figure out like where I was at what time. And altogether, I personally find my voice really annoying. So I don't know, comment on that. Next comment is from A.L. Allen. They write, recently booked an inside cabin and bid on an ocean view and balcony. It's cheaper to get an upgrade by bidding, but not sure my bid will be accepted. Fingers crossed. The worst part is not knowing until the last minute. So there's a couple things here I want to talk about. First of all, really good advice. Cruise lines like Royal Caribbean, if they have a lot of cabins that are still open or empty on a cruise, sort of a couple weeks before that cruise begins, they'll send out mails to allow you to bid for an upgrade. So basically what you do is you say, I would be willing to upgrade to a balcony cabin or to a junior suite or to the owner suite for this much money. And it's kind of like an auction in a way. The cruise line then looks, okay, how many people have bid, who has the highest status, who bid the most money, and then those people end up in a better cabin. And what Al Allen or A.L. Allen is saying, a good way to sort of play the game is book a really inexpensive inside cabin and then bid for an upgrade, and you might be able to get the upgrade and then still spend less money than you would have if you had just booked a balcony straight away. So I'm really curious to know, Al Allen, did it work? Please get back to me on that one. And the final comment, and this is a really funny one, it's from Sharon Smith, and I think I might have also picked a comment from Sharon Smith here recently, so sorry if all of you out there are always hoping for me to read your comments and then I pick repeat commenters. I really don't have a system. I just kind of look through the comments and randomly pick ones that I want to talk about. So Sharon Smith says, I was in an inside virtual balcony cabin docked in Liverpool, and I asked my cruise buddy to close the curtains in case someone could see in from the offices opposite. Facepalm. That is so funny. So in last week's video, like I said, I went through inside ocean view and balcony cabin and talked about different aspects of what they offer and what they don't offer. And while discussing that, I showed and talked about what a virtual balcony is, and that's where you have basically a television made to look like it's a window or a balcony. And Sharon saying that she was so in the mindset of believing that this was an actual view outside that maybe she was changing her clothes or something, and she asked her cruise buddy, oh, could you close the curtains, please?
Ain't nobody looking in, honey. It's a television.
But that just kind of goes to show you, I was surprised at how easy it was to sort of just forget that it's a television and kind of believe that that really was outside. So if you have the opportunity to cruise in a virtual balcony because that's what fits your budget, I can recommend it. Go for it. All right, everybody, hopefully next week I will be going live from the Fuerteventura Princess Resort. And if not, there's not gonna be a video. Please forgive me if that happens. See you soon, maybe.